I think you see my name there, and you know when you're in this session already, who am I? Maybe I'm a medium editor of the Quantastic Journal. You have been in touch with Science and Tech Journal, and we try to be rigorous in the way we communicate science, but still accessible to everybody. So some of you may have been across our journal and enjoyed it, I hope. Those who have not been will be doing that soon. And this talk should be actually based on the experience that we have done there. Writers and or readers in the last year. We are just 1 year old for journal. And just in 10, 15 minutes, talking about how we actually get scientists on board. We like to have science enthusiasts on board as writers, stories. And this idea came to me, why not having a session on that? So motivating more people joining us as scientists, but also as science enthusiasts. So you don't need to be a researcher from CERN or from NASA. The writer here, if you're a science enthusiast and you have some experience in your field, that's fine enough. Or a tech enthusiast and you have some field expertise in your area. So the idea is why not writing stories that really people want to read and have a great audience for that as well. So let me start slowly and invite you also after this to our booth. So if you have questions that cannot be answered here, so you're welcome to visit our booth at 9:30 ET. So this is about an hour from now. We will be there for 2 hours, and also there we can talk to you. As I said, the idea of this session, so why scientists should tell stories beyond academic papers. So we know when we talk about scientists, usually they produce these papers. There is a kind of a manufacturing or factory of paper writing academic papers in academic journals and so forth and so forth. But this is not all. We believe scientists also need to write stories. This is beyond this kind of machinery of producing academic papers, academic articles. And it's another reason. It's not the same reason. It has other reasons. So when I say writing stories, doesn't mean scientists should not write papers. So they are complements. So this is the one thing I should emphasize in the beginning. And the other thing is that what I like to say is that this is what I'm saying here now, just based on the experience we had in the last 1 year, in this year with our journal. And I tried to compact it in kind of 3 large pillars and find the right reasons for you, and that you can be motivated, to write more with us and stories. So don't see this as a kind of formula that has all the reasons packed, everything. Just short. And we talk about experiences and things that we believe in. So why stories actually? Humans tell stories since they have lived in the caves. So from a psychological, anthropological perspective. So, this is fantastic. If you want to tell something, best way might be to tell it as a story in the envelope of a story. So why not science then in a story? But if we go then to science stories in the science journals, we just see so many science tips there every day, and the replications of research papers and so forth. But there's stories of the people, the scientists themselves, actually. That is what I like to tackle today. Why scientists or science enthusiasts, as a human, really, as an individual, should write science stories. These 3 pillars, and after that, we can have a short session about it. So if you like, here's a question. First pillar, why we should really work and write stories as scientists is something that I would say reflects on ourselves. So if you're a scientist and science enthusiast, the question is, you don't just have a research field and produce some results or have new ideas. It's not just the science process. It's not just a kind of production machinery as such that producing a results, then publication in a paper, and then the next project. So it's more than that. It's taking a lot of your life. So behind of every science research, there are humans. There is life. There are lives. There are many humans interconnected. So you come in touch with many people. You engage in many different ways with that research or that field you are involved in. So why reducing it only to the results? And why reducing it then to something that can be peer reviewed? As a human, we cannot get peer reviewed. But as a scientist, we are humans. As a science enthusiast, we are humans. When we are busy over a year or a couple of months with something and something new that is interesting to us, or we are researching on, however, in tech or science, then we are humans doing this. So we are not something detached, and we have a life story. We have a life experience behind all of this. We have tragedies. We have family tragedies even. We have successes. We have obstacles. There is a lot around this. And I think that is one very important reason why we should, as scientists or science enthusiasts, write stories, because people outside should see when they read our stuff, not only the science, the result, the discussion, the conclusion, and so forth, but they should see also how this has been developed, the human behind of that, who we are, how we live, what we did. And not only this, there are many of such stories in which we talk about other scientists. You write a story where Albert Einstein is involved, but who was Albert Einstein? When we talk about Boltzmann, who was Boltzmann? Do we talk about that he suffered depression? Or when we talk about Max Planck and his efforts and his research, shouldn't we talk also about the tragedies of his life, those huge family tragedies? So what I want to say is that it's important to write as scientists stories first because we are humans, because we have a science enthusiasts. From that perspective, under that light, also an own story. It's not just results, it's not just peer-reviewed conclusions, and so forth. This is one important part. The second thing, pillar that we experience, which is important, and I say, if you go to our journal, you will see here several of articles that address exactly this pillar. So in those articles, you will see that people are talking about their life experiences when they are talking about vaccines, when they are talking about physics, about different aspects. So in science, they are talking also about their experiences. But the second pillar, why we should, as scientists, write on science and we have experience, is something that has with science itself to do. So if we talk about science, a scientific case, and we want to explain it to people, often it's much easier to have a story to tell the people. And I think one of the major examples of that is what we call the Gedanken experiment, what we know actually manifests from Einstein, which is a thought experiment. So to explain something which could be quite complicated, scientific, still yet rigorously, but we can use metaphors, we can use narratives. Instead of telling that a formula first for a mathematical formula for the speed of light and the relativity, we can talk first about, in special relativity, Einstein is talking about an elevator, up and down. And these are small stories that we build, metaphors by which we can tell then science in a way that more people can understand. So the second pillar, actually, why we should write stories as scientists, is that we can use the narrative language to get more to the people, to explain better to the people things. And part of the narrative language that I'm talking about this is, for example, also the models we use. We cannot talk about things as such, but we produce models that explain them. And beyond that, we use imagery, charts, graphs. We produce films, animations even nowadays in our articles to explain better in models, in pictures, in caricatures, in all these small narratives also, how science cases actually work. So this brings us actually to the, again, if you into our journal and the article, you will see a lot of such experiments, animations in the article, thought experiments and charts, graphs, etc. So which are built in a way that helps everybody to understand. That's the second pillar, as I thought. But there is that brings us to the third pillar, which I think is most important, is the very holistic way. So an article at the end, if we tell about our story, and if we take on board also the way we talk and bring stories to explain science, then we have a full picture of stories in an enveloped in a narrative. So we cannot have in pieces. So the entire article is also a narrative. So we are communicating as a whole to the public, to a broader public, to a broader readership. And this readership is then not always disciplinary. So when we write an article on a specific issue, science issue, for example, in quantum mechanics, and this should be peer-reviewed to the Journal of Physics or whatever, then we target a very disciplinary readership. But when we begin to talk in stories, we can keep the same rigor, but we have a narrative in a way which is educative, which is pedagogy. And we can explain this in a more interdisciplinary way to people from different disciplines. So we get a much broader audience and a more interested even audience. And that is in both directions, because you get then also feedbacks from others, from other disciplines, and not only from your own discipline, which is actually a problem that many scientists live in kind of a castle and never come out of that. Um, so this is a way to guiding this storytelling, this narrative style gives us the possibility to guiding, to inviting the public to read, to learn and to educate them, look beyond the borders and also, and share knowledge. So the narrative form as a whole is actually a much more powerful way to explain science, to tell science, to talk about science, and it has much more freedom. Once you do that as scientists and as science enthusiasts, you will see you have much more freedom to use your ways of how you tell the narrative. It's much more creative than just writing a paper for peer review. So these are, I think, the three pillars I wanted to suggest here that you take some time and think about it, perhaps, as scientists or science enthusiasts, and when beginning to write, why you should write or should give it a try to write science in the form of narrative and use of storytelling techniques. I think that will help you a lot, and you will enjoy it also. So at the same time, we have a platform for that. So if you like to reach to us, you can reach also to us. We edit also a lot. We communicate a lot with the writers on this way, on their way so far. I hope I could bring my part now in this session and look for the next 10 minutes some of your questions. It's if you have any questions, you can raise here so I can still answer that. Otherwise, as I said, in about 1 hour at no, not 1 hour, in at 9:30 ET Eastern Time, in about 40 minutes, we have also the booth opening at Medium, and you can visit us, the Quantastic Journal the booth is open then, and you can also put your questions there. So I see here someone says, I love this. Telling stories is a great way to improve the public view of science. Exactly. That's absolutely true. So, and once you get used to that, it is really addictive, I can say. You cannot stop then because people would love to read you. As a photographer, I think photographs are key to helping understand science visually. Excellent, that's right. So always I suggest don't use AI produced images and so forth. Do it yourself. Sometimes there's so many ways to do own photographies, for example, own illustrations, which are much more better communicative and part of your own stories in that way. He says, I have published 7 articles with the Quantastic Journal and I found some. Oh, thank you very much. So this was not a question. Thank you very much, Ellen. I know, I remind you, great writer. Um, I subscribe to your media. Yeah. So I see here, I'm trying to see whether there are some questions here. So anything I can support. So I don't see at the moment any questions. So, but thank you very much for the feedback I get. I will keep it. Fantastic to work all. I mean, really lovely writers we have. Great stuff, and I enjoyed it. And thank you. I subscribed. You. Do you write only about your science or other topics too? Oh, if you ever think about me, so I'm not only writing about my science. So actually, my science doesn't exist. I have some background in science and so forth, but I usually write about something that I'm curious about. So something that I think, oh, that's something I have to find out why and how, and so. And then I write in parallel many articles. And one day, one of those articles, when I have answered all the questions in detail to myself, is at the level that I can publish, and people will like it because all the answers are there. And this is just a great story. So I'm not the typical disciplinary person in writing. So that comes outside of Medium. Where do you like to publish? Honestly, this is very painful questions. Outside of Medium, where do you like to publish at the moment? Unfortunately, I don't like to publish nowhere. It's not the times really for me to publish elsewhere. And I think Medium is a really classy way to publish on science. And then you have also a very intelligent. I also always tell our writers, uh, don't uh, don't underestimate our readers. They are highly intelligent, they are highly knowledgeable, they are very well educated. So I get sometimes so drafts so written so that if the story must be written for a child. I say, no, this is really not the case. They are very educated. Write a story which is rigorous in science. Bring your formula in mathematics. Bring your details in biology, biotechnology, or whatever it is. People understand this very well and they will respond. So this is the question. So I think the questions are stopping here. And I was very lucky. Uh, I think in one new message now. Can you recommend a typical science story in the genre you explored? Of course, I can. In the genre I explored, it's a bit of difficult to understand you. If you be, I mean, all the articles we publish in the Quantastic Journal are really examples for this. My own articles, I mean, you can see there 2 of my own articles. One is coming actually today or tomorrow, I hope. This is on the Uncanny Valley, which is also a typical science story in the genre that I explore. I hope this will be published today or tomorrow. It's about Maury's Uncanny Valley. So you have, if you visit our journal, you have a lot of great articles in that spectrum to read from our great writers. Now, outside of Medium, so no question more. So I'm still here, open to questions. Do you have any tips for converting a complex explanation of a complex concept into an explanation understand what either scientists from other field? Yes, I can give you two advice. What I do myself. The first is write it for yourself. Be sure that you have every details explained to yourself. No jumps. From really every step of the logic is explained for yourself, and there is no caveat, no problem, no obstacle. And the second is just ask others to read it. Ask friends to read it, those who you expect. So don't rush to publish. Test it with other writers. And finally, submit it to a journal whose editors really read your articles and help you. Our journal is a curated journal, so if you send an article as a draft, we give you feedback, we work with you if necessary to bring the article forward, so you get a sense how the reader would react before you publish your article. So be patient, and in that way, writing is a humble job. Then you say, thank you very much. Oh, thank you too. Um, so I hope that helped. I don't see any. Also use metaphor and humor. Exactly. That's a very good point. Part of the narrative technique is use metaphors, use humor, be on the wavelength of the of your of your of your readers, and not too much humor, but in a sense where you feel that's good for for your story. Do you find most writers on Medium, or do you bring them onto the platform from outside? We mainly have get writers from Medium, and very rarely from outside. That is our way of reaching out to authors actually. Because the good thing is that we have also directly the access to them, and also technicalities are involved. Those writers know how to start, how to work. It's easier to access them. So yes, but sometimes we talk also to outside writers, definitely. Yeah, I think we are approaching, we have still 5 minutes. And with regard to this session, if you have any other questions still to these three pillars, to this way of writing science and tech, and the connect, I should say, or journal is actually science, tech, and the connect to humanity. So not you don't need to be an absolute scientist to do that. We have philosophers even who deal and write for us. Do you get a lot of questions from readers of your articles? It's very different. I think every writer is different, and some writers get more questions, some writers get more appraisal. It's very different. So this is not so always, but sometimes we have great debates also. Yes, part of the response. Oh, great. This is very good. Mary Kaiser, excellent, concise, very helpful. I'm happy to hear that. So, and hope I win here. We win here more writers to Medium on science and technology and humanity. And I hope this session brings more uh, to you guys. Any other questions? How long have you been doing this type of writing? Um, Long, quite long. I think much longer than I publish. And I think many writers do as well, much longer than they publish. And I think since 2 years I publish on Medium. And since 1 year, we support other writers to publish on Medium. And I think, yeah, but I always like not to be fast in publishing. Some of my the next article is coming now tomorrow or today, being published in the journal on Uncanny Valley. So this article is developed over 2 years. So I'm very careful. So better you have in parallel many articles for a long time and develop them slowly, 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 and one of them comes out. But don't rush, and that is the way to get good articles done. So, any other questions? I'm still here. We have still 3 minutes for you before we go later to the booth. The booth is at in about 30 minutes open. So you can be also there and set very, very concrete questions to the journal, to how you write, what you want to know more about writing, technicalities, or even very general questions on the journal and so forth. Um, so I get a lot of thanks here, and I thank you, everybody, very cordially that you came here, you heard, and you shared your very valuable time with me and with Medium. And I thank really all the Medium team members who made something like that happen. It's a great job. It's a fantastic job in a very tough times. It's really tough times, and Medium is unique, and we will go to support Medium and their team as far as we can. Thank you so much. Yes. So we will have still 2 minutes. If someone has some words or questions, I will be still here before we close, and wish you that you have a great time in this a great day on Medium Day. Hear a lot of good stuff, and visit the booth. And if you have to do with science and tech, humanity, just come back to me, just come back to the journal, and we would love to have something great, a good story from you to hear and to read and to publish, of course.